Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1699BN. Today's date is October 25th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Panic, the Deep State Projection in Full Force. Anons Know Why. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, the Deep State, they are in a major panic. Now, let's think about this for a second. First, it started out with Khashogi. All of a sudden, this journalist went into a consulate. He was murdered. The mainstream media had all the evidence. And every day they drip-fed all this information coming out of Turkey news agencies and from Erdogan. They knew everything that went on there. And they started to blame Trump, and they said, listen, he better do something. Let's place sanctions on them. Let's move forward. And they pushed this agenda. Then they had the caravan start out in Honduras, in Guatemala, in all the different countries down there to march up here. And it started out small, and it got more people involved, and it grew to, and there's different estimates, the highest I think now is 17,000 people, and they're marching towards the border. And then we had bombs delivered, packages with bombs inside, delivered to Clinton, Obama, I think Biden's got lost in the mail, Holder, Maxine Waters, Brennan, all the people that are being investigated. Kind of odd, kind of strange. I think even Robert De Niro was involved in this one, where some package, I guess, was delivered to his restaurant. Remember, he continually speaks out against Trump. But what's very interesting is that all this is happening in the month of October. If the deep state wasn't in a full panic mode, this would not be happening. So let's go through why they're panicking and why they're doing this. Now, first off, the New York Times, they put out a story about the mail bombs. Now, remember, none of these bombs went off, and we'll get into the bombs in just a minute. The first sentence says, a wave of pipe bombs were sent to a prominent Democratic politicians, including former President Barack Obama and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, sparking an intense investigation on Wednesday into whether a bomber is going after targets that have often been the subject of right-wing ire. Then we had Jeff Zucker come out, and basically he was friends with Trump when he started The Apprentice. Now he's no longer friendly to Trump. And he sees the opportunity to bash Trump. And he went on to say the following, that there is a total and complete lack of understanding at the White House about the seriousness of their attacks on the media. Now, Trump just finished saying that we need unity in the face of what appears to be a far-reaching coordinated terror attack. Remember, there was the Islamic State flag on one of the pipe bombs. We then had Brennan come out, former CIA director, who got his security clearance taken away. He says that Trump needs to stop blaming others and look in the mirror. Strange, he said mirror. Q always tells us that. Think mirror. After Trump blasted the media, false and inaccurate reporting, for causing anger and division in society, Brennan tweeted out the following, stop blaming others. Look in the mirror. Your inflammatory rhetoric, insults, lies, and encouragement of physical violence are disgraceful. Clean up your act. Try to act presidential. You mean the way they think a president should act. The American people deserve much better. Yes, we deserve those people who are treasonous, committed crimes in jail. By the way, your critics will not be intimidated into silence. And he went on to say, I will not relent. Now, think about this for a second. Do you really think the Trump administration, or those people who follow Q, his supporters, would want to send a bomb to these individuals? No, because it doesn't make sense. Remember, we've been waiting patiently for the declassification and these people to be brought to justice. We know that these people don't get their mail. We know there's others that are opening the mail. We know that the mail is always scanned. So why in the world would Trump have anything to do with this, or the supporters, if we're waiting to see all these people arrested? Does it make sense? No. Even Maxine Waters, she was targeted with suspicious packages. Now, if we look at all these individuals, what are they doing right now? They're screaming on the top of their lungs. Feel sorry for me. Trump's attacking me. The supporters are attacking me. Feel sympathy. That's what they're doing. So packages were sent to 7+ targets: CNN, Obama, Clinton, Soros, Cuomo, Holder, Maxine Waters. It seems like it's the same group that we've been talking about for a very long time, and the same group that most likely will end up in prison. Now, CNN Jim Acosta, he put out a picture of the package and the bomb. And when you look at it, you see there's stamps on it. You see there's an address, and it looks like it's Debbie Wasserman Schultz who sent it to Brennan. We know this is not true. And then there's a picture of the bomb. We also have Gio Benitez, who also showed a picture of the package and the bomb. And when we look at the bomb, we have noticed, because we showed it yesterday, there was an Islamic State flag. But we'll talk about more of the bomb a little bit later. Let's look closely at the package. Do you see it? What's wrong with this package? Let me zoom in so you can see the package. And for those people who are not seeing the package, you can click on the link on the X22 Report for the tweet, and you can see the package. If you're on YouTube, you're seeing it now. When you zoom in on the stamp area, what does the post office normally do when it goes through the mail system? Don't they stamp? They put a stamp on top of the actual stamps to invalidate the stamps so you can't use them again. Why in the world doesn't this package have any stamping on it over the stamps? Does that make sense? So maybe this package wasn't actually mailed. Secondly, they took the time out to open the package, take the bomb out, set it on the table, and actually take pictures of it. How did they know it wasn't going to go off? If you open a package and you saw a pipe bomb, would you set it on the table, go get your camera phone or whatever it is, and take a picture of it? No, it doesn't make sense. So Tom Sawyer, president and founder of MacArthur Group, Navy EOD veteran, had a couple of observations on this. Number one, a proper pipe bomb, they don't have wires connected to both ends. He said that's dumb. Number two, you can find timers and remote control receivers way smaller than whatever that white box is. A proper timer would best be stored inside the pipe, making it fully encapsulated. That thing is just silly looking. Number three, bottom line, whoever made these bombs, they wanted it to be painfully obvious to anyone and everyone that it's a bomb. This is nearly the same as a bundle of road flares wrapped together with an old-timey alarm clock ticking away. Number four, hoax devices are far more common than real ones, in which case we should ask ourselves what the motives of the bomber are and who benefits. Go ahead, think deeply and critically. Now, if they're functioning pipe bombs, how did they transport them to Quantico? Anybody see a blasting cap or a detonator in there? No. Also, the photos don't appear to be taken by a bomb tech or a crime scene investigator. Bad angle, poor lighting. So if it's being taken by a journalist, why would they let them near a live pipe bomb? Who mails a device to people who haven't opened their own mail in years to decades? Now, John Ismay tweeted out the following. Some bomb technicians who studied photos of the device suggested that the bomb sent to CNN had hallmarks of fake explosives. the kind more typically depicted on television and in movies, rather than devices capable of detonating. Josh Kaplan tweeted out, breaking. A law enforcement official says tests have determined that a powder found inside an envelope delivered to CNN along with pipe bomb was harmless. Very interesting. So basically what's happening here is this was done to get the full effect, to make sure people knew it was a bomb, and put this news out there that these people are being targeted. And we have to ask our question, why? Why would they need to do this at this time? Because they are panicking. Remember, think timing. It's amazing. Khashogi, the caravan, the bombings, all happening in October. So let's go back to Q's post 524. Focus on the loudest voices in Washington. If you notice, all these people, with what they've just done, they're out in the spotlight right now, telling everyone, look at me, look at me, look at me. They're screaming the loudest. Post 743. Investigate those in front of the camera who scream the loudest. Post 923. Find the loudest voices. Why are these people screaming the loudest, looking for sympathy? Why is the mainstream media pushing the Russia-Chinese angle now? Yes, that's what they're doing. The mainstream media right now is pushing the Russia-Chinese spying angle. We'll get into that in just a minute, but first, remember what the D-class will do to these people when the truth comes out. So let's review what Q has been telling us. Post 2129. D-class of FISA will initiate the resignation, recusal, and or removal of Rod Rosenstein. D-class of FISA will initiate the awareness that all signers will be currently under investigation. D-class of FISA will factually demonstrate without argument the U.S. government under Barack Obama knowingly presented false evidence to FISC in an effort to obtain legal U.S. intelligence umbrella surveillance of POTUS for the sole purpose of influencing the 2016 election of the presidency. Not Russia, but Obama, Hillary Clinton. Projection. Safeguard against possible loss of power. Firewalls. FISA, full, brings down the House, the White House. Post 2171. And I want to read the definition that Q gave us about projection. And Q says, define projection. The attribution of one's own ideas, feelings, or attitudes to other people or to objects, especially the externalization of blame, guilt, or responsibility as a defense against anxiety. The forming of a plan, scheming. Define psychological projection. A theory in psychology in which the human ego defends itself against unconscious impulses or qualities, both positive and negative, by denying their existence in themselves while attributing them to others. Let's move on to post 2206. Down below Q, this whole post, Q gave us a link to Twitter, and this is to Hillary Clinton. And in this post it says, Donald Trump refuses to be subject to the law. The legitimacy of our elections is in doubt. The president is waging war on the truth. The administration is undermining the national unity that makes democracy possible. And then there's the breathtaking corruption. Q says, define projection. Deep state panic is real. Q. Post 2369. Q explains what the D class is and why the deep state is so afraid of it. Why not? If true, Ds do not want D-class to prove POTUS was colluding with Russia. Why are Ds opposed to D-class if what they say is true? D-class would prove evidence versus POTUS to obtain FISA warrant. Why the block? To find projection. Redactions made to protect exposing the real truth. Logical thinking, locked and loaded. Q. So Q has been telling us to think projection. So we need to think projection when we hear the following from the deep state and the mainstream media. And this just came out today. Trump hit back at the New York Times today about an article that was put out about his unsecured iPhone to call friends outside of the White House. He labeled the report, "So incorrect, I don't have time here to correct it." So what did the Times report actually say? The Times reported on Wednesday that despite having access to a secure landline in the White House, Trump frequently uses an iPhone to call his friends to gossip, gripe, or solicit their latest take on how he is doing, exposing him to eavesdropping by Chinese and Russian spies. Remember that part. American intelligence reports indicate that Chinese spies are often listening and putting to use invaluable insights into how to best work the president and affect administration policy. So the New York Times is out there telling us that the Chinese and the Russians, especially the Chinese, they're eavesdropping, they're spying, getting information through his iPhone because it's not secure. Remember that. Trump tweeted out, "The so-called experts on Trump over at the New York Times wrote a long and boring article on my cell phone usage that is so incorrect, I do not have time here to correct it. I only use government phones. I have only one seldom used government cell phones. Story is so wrong." So the deep state right now is projecting exactly what is going to happen when the D class comes out and when the other investigations are revealed. So what is the mainstream media doing? Why did they put this article out there? Why now? Why do they have to put this out there about an unsecured phone where the Chinese have access to it? Because when the D class comes out and everything is out in the open, and this might be right after the D class, when the investigations are opened up and people start to realize what's going on, Hillary allowed the Chinese access to her server. So the New York Times is trying to normalize this. Look, Trump had an unsecured phone. Hillary had an unsecured server. They were both caught by the Chinese. No crime committed here. This is what they're trying to do with this story. They're trying to normalize it. Now, why would they pick this time to do it? Because they know that D class is coming. They know the investigations, the indictments are going to be opened up. They know they're in trouble. They're trying to normalize the situation by projecting all of this out there. It's going to fail. Because Trump is going to show he doesn't use an unsecure phone. He uses a secure phone. They're going to show that Hillary tried to cover up her server, deleting emails, getting rid of the server, trying to hide what was being done. This is what they're trying to do right now. They're projecting out there because they know what's coming. And they're in a huge panic mode because they don't know when it's coming. They're putting all of this out there. The caravan, the bombs, and they're trying to figure out, when is this going to happen? We don't know. That's panic. Let's move on to what's going on with the caravan here. The mainstream media, they're out there saying, oh, the caravan's 3,500. No, it's 17,000 people. No, it's 14,000 people. Well, right now the caravan is around 1,700 miles away from the U.S. border, and they're marching up there. But something very interesting is it seems like they're getting help from certain trucking companies, because there was a video that was put out there, and it was captured that Express San Javier Trucking was helping the illegals come up to the United States. And this Mexican company holds a Department of Transportation DOT license for operation inside the U.S. And they're helping, or they were hired to help these individuals get to the border of the U.S. Now, Mattis is out there, and he's expected to sign an order sending at least 800 troops to the border right now. And the National Guard already has about 2,100 troops working along the border. We also know back in April, Mattis authorized as many as 4,000 troops to the border, pending approval of certain state governors, many of them who already approved it, and they're already there. So we already have forces on the border, but what we're seeing right now is the deep state, they are pushing everything they have because they're in a panic mode. They don't know when all of this is going to drop. Remember, Q has always told us, timing is everything. Let's move on to Khashogi. We see the Saudi Arabian story is continually changing. Now they're saying that it's a premeditated murder, which we kind of knew right from the beginning. The whole big question is, who ordered this? Who directed it? Was it the Saudis? Was it the deep state? Was this all created and prepared? Because the mainstream media knew a lot about this. They had all the information all ready to go, and they drip-fed the American public to try to push their agenda to basically shut down relations with Saudi Arabia. And this goes far beyond this ridiculous $110 billion deal. If Saudi Arabia was isolated, the entire economic system would fall apart right now. That's what they were really trying to do. I know a lot of people saying, well, it's blood money, it's the deal. This billions of dollars, that's worthless. That's nothing compared to the trillions upon trillions that flow through Saudi Arabia to keep this system operational. They know, because they're the ones who set it up. They know how to bring it down easily. They wanted Saudi Arabia isolated. Now, we know that Trump sent Gina Haspel out to Saudi Arabia on a fact-finding mission. And we already confirmed that there was already intelligence on the ground. Now, Gina Haspel is going to be, bringing back the report, the fact-finding mission, and it looks like that's going to be happening today, and they're going to figure out what really happened there. And I think we have an idea what might have happened. Maybe we're completely off, but we'll have to see what Trump and the intelligence community comes up with and what they're going to tell the American people and the rest of the world. But we can see their whole mission was not about Khashogi. They could care less. Their mission was to get Trump to isolate Saudi Arabia so they can say, and they can point the finger at Trump saying, look what he did. We were dependent on Saudi Arabia. He placed sanctions on them. The economy fell apart. He is to blame. This is what they're really trying to do. Now, the mainstream media is taking this one step further. They're saying that al-Asiri had deep connections to Team Trump. The Major General met with top members of the Trump transition team in 2017, including Michael Flynn. This is what they're putting out there right now. So they're trying to tie in Trump, Flynn, and this General al-Asiri all together to say they planned this whole entire operation. This is how sick these people are and how stupid they are. I mean, the Russian collusion thing didn't work. Let's just move to this. And this is what they're trying to do. This is why Adam Schiff was out there saying, let's look to see how many connections and how many investments Trump has out in Saudi Arabia now. Let's have Mueller switch his investigation and go after him on this now. Because there's nothing with Russian collusion and there's nothing with Saudi Arabia. They're just trying to figure out any way they possibly can to get him. So what we see right now is everything is moving forward and the deep state is in a deep, deep panic because they don't know when all of this is going to happen. And they're projecting out there what they think is going to happen and they're trying to normalize it. It's going to fail because there's going to be facts, hard evidence behind the indictments, behind the D-class, behind everything. And all this propaganda about an unsecure phone, it's not going to work. They're going to try to make it work, but they're going to fail big time. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.